90.3 FM, and it's Wednesday. That means it's Joe Steckler Day. Joe is still recovering from his knee surgery that he had a couple of weeks ago, and Kerry Fink is with me. I'm John Harper. Hi, Kerry.
Hey, John. How are you today?
Good, thank you. What's the latest on Joe?
So, I talked to him, I think it was yesterday, and, if you've ever been through physical therapy, you know that is not an easy path to travel. It's necessary, but it's not easy. And so, as you know, once they get you up and get you moving and do all the things necessary, that pretty much takes the wind out of your sails for a day. But Joe is, Joe is a survivor and he's a fighter, so he's struggling through it. And he said he got all his articles in. I guess we have deadlines for the articles. Be looking for Joe's articles in the Hometown News, which comes out every other week in Hometown News. He's also in Barefoot Tattler. He's in Aldea Today. He's in Ebony News Today. He's in the Senior Scene magazine. So he said he got all those articles done. So that is all good news. And we're working on all parts of helping seniors at all times.
Joe is really kind of a remarkable individual in the fact that he has been able to rise above all of the obstacles that have been in front of him and conquer them and go on to continue to do great and big things for this organization, the Helping Seniors of Brevard, as he did in the past with the Alzheimer's Foundation.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the cast of characters that Joe has assembled, over the years has really been amazing. I know today on the radio show, we're going to be talking with Dr. Lee Sheldon. Dr. Sheldon has been helping Joe in all of this all the way through, I think, predating Helping Seniors. I think probably the very first TV show that we ever did 10 years ago, Dr. Sheldon was like one of the first guests. And so he's always backed what's been going on with Helping Seniors. And there's other people like that. There's Bill Johnson, who's board-certified elder law attorney. He's been with Joe since the early days. And folks like the Eye Institute have been with Joe since the beginning. And I think about you, John Harper. You kind of got Joe into the radio business to start with all those years ago.
Yeah, that goes back many years ago, and it has been an interesting journey to watch Joe grow and develop into the second longest running talk show host. I was corrected recently and realized, and I don't know why I overlooked this, but actually yours truly is the longest surviving talk show
Congratulations.
host here
well deserved.
in Brevard County on the Space Coast, and Joe is number 2.
Wow.
But nonetheless, it has been magnificent to see Joe respond so well to the many obstacles, as I mentioned a moment ago, that he's had to overcome, and he keeps on just ticking away like that Timex watch, or just keeps on ticking. Remember those commercials with John Cameron Swayze?
Yep, takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, and that's also Joe's spirit, all through everything that during the time I've known Joe, he's always been careful to share the experience, to encourage others to say, you can get through this. So, we talked about this last week when he suffered a pretty serious stroke 10 years ago or 9 years ago. So many things happened. As soon as he was feeling better, he's got, guys, bring the TV cameras in. I want people to film what I'm going through so they can understand that they don't have to give up if they get a setback like this. And I remember we did a TV show, for example, with his emergency room doctor, the doctor that saw him that night. She walks in and says, wow, you look a whole lot better than when I first met you. And then literally, John, a year to the day, we sat down, 1 year to the day that he had the stroke, we sat down and did a TV show about stroke recovery. We had Chris Marriott, who is a physical therapist and a great one at that, great friend of Helping Seniors. He was on the show, and we were talking about how remarkable Joe's recovery had been. And then when Joe had, cataract surgery, he wanted us in the operating room filming that so people could understand this is nothing to be afraid of. And even as he's writing these articles, he's wanting to encourage seniors. And everything is about this aging plan idea, that we've got to have a plan When we're kids, they say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What's your plan? Are you going to go to school? You're going to take this kind of job? What is it you want to do? And then when you get to be adulthood, they're like, well, are you going to save for your kids' college? Are you going to plan for your retirement? Are you going to buy a house? What are you going to do? And they have you make all these plans. And when we get up into those retirement years, the question is, do we have a plan for that? And I'm not talking about just the money. It's talking about having the knowledge of the things that you may run into along the way. And we've heard from Bill Johnson, for example, about the importance of getting your paperwork straightened out and things like that. And so that's why it's going to be fun to talk with Dr. Sheldon today on the radio. And I was telling you, John, before we hit the top of the hour break, I said the title that Dr. Sheldon sent over, he says, do you really need to have your teeth extracted? And we were joking, said, this is really a question you want to ask a dentist?
Yeah.
but Dr. Sheldon is absolutely the right dentist to talk about. So when we have Dr. Sheldon on the line, then we'll jump in with him. But in the meanwhile,
over the years, have you had good dental care?
Well, here's the story. So we lived, as you may recall, our story is we lived in New York City for many, many years. I always tell people we're kids who grew up in Georgia and got to Florida via 10 years in Manhattan. And so we had a very good dentist that we enjoyed visiting up in Manhattan. And so actually, after we got to Florida, we didn't know anybody. So we would actually fly back and forth to New York City for dental care and doctor's appointments and things like that, because that's where we had, all those connections. Right. Now, when we met Dr. Sheldon through Joe and the Helping Seniors Organization, we literally had kind of, I guess you would say, fallen off the dental wagon, meaning that we had not done a good job of like the preventative maintenance and things like that. We would go up there when we had a problem, to New York City, but we hadn't really, chased it down. So when we met Dr. Sheldon and really understood the quality and care level of his practice, he's been helping our family along to get kind of back on the path that we should have been, and making good progress. But I mean, there's no question. I've got some spots I'm going to have to get some implants going at a certain point of time, and that's why we actually attended. Dr. Sheldon does, pre-COVID he did. I guess they probably do these now by Zoom, but he does these informational seminars where he talks about dental implants, what they are, what they can do, what you need to be aware of, the things that you need to know. Very informative, very fascinating, and very low key. It's not at all a sales pitch. He just literally wants you to have the information. So as you go down the road, here again, making that aging plan, what do you want to do as you go along? And so really, I thought it was great information from Dr. Sheldon on that. So,
as a kid growing up, I had very bad dental care. It was horrendous. It was a nightmare. True story. I had, and I guess my brother and I, Vern, went to several different dentists in the Tampa Bay area where we grew up. And I'm not kidding. People think I'm kidding when I give you this name. I had a dentist. It works in well with the topic of today. His name, you can look it up. I would imagine he's still there in St. Petersburg. His name was Dr. Yankum.
Well, that would be a great and appropriate name for dentist.
True story.
And we could have him talk about, do you really need to have teeth extracted? Wow. Well,
do you believe that?
Wow.
Doctor. And then down the street, here's another one. Down the street from him was a doctor who specialized in asthma and those types of ailments. His name was Dr., not kidding on this one, Dr. Achu.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the marketer in me loves those names. I remember talking to Dr. Sheldon years ago. He created a brand name for what he does with these implants, because when you talk to him, he has so much experience in this. You're not walking into the office of somebody who just literally, 5 minutes ago graduated from dental college. He has cut his teeth, become nationally renowned as a periodontist and an expert in all this. He actually, for years, has operated a group that actually teaches other periodontic practices how to do the work that they do, both in terms of running their business office correctly, but also giving the best care possible to patients. And I was thinking about all the things that we talk about with teeth care and health care. He has such a background of knowledge to pull to pull from. So, but he came up with this brand name called Solid Bite because he said, as you get older, your teeth are shifting around, and maybe you lose a tooth here or something else is going on over there, and so that was his brand name. So that or Dr. Yankum, I don't know.
Not kidding about that. And in fact, I'm curious. I want to look it up, see if he's still in business or whatever.
That's so much fun.
But yeah, Dr. Yankum, and down the street, a guy who handled asthma, Dr. Achu.
They have some great names for medical professionals on the west coast of Florida.
I want to tell you, yeah. But nonetheless, Lee Sheldon, I think in our area and the country is one of the renowned dentist who has really been inspiring to other dentists in the work that he has done and the things that he has perfected and continue to work on here over the last many years, and he's got a great practice.
Yeah, and I was going to tell you, there's another thing. He's been a longtime friend of Joe's and everything we're doing with the Helping Seniors organization, from the standpoint that he actually has created a new patient special. And what he does, because he's explained this, from the care side, he wants people to be able to come in and get a full understanding of what's going on in their mouth. So he doesn't want to do... Did I hear a dental drill? It's closer than you think. So actually,
Jim, by the way, Jim Voltro just looked up Dr. Yankum. And sure enough, at least back, what was that, Jim, in 1995? Mm-hmm. He was still around in 1995.
Wow. Yeah. So what? There you go. Well, so what I was saying about Dr. Sheldon is, he said from a medical perspective, he really wants to get a full look at what's going on inside a person's mouth so that he can make, basically the best, I guess, plan to help them. And so because of that, he doesn't want to skimp on that first visit. He said that first visit costs like $300-400 to do, because he wants to get full x-rays. He wants to get all these things that help them really do the correct thing to understand what's going on in a person's mouth. He said, listen, but at the same time, he said, I'm willing to take a loss on that because I want to do the best for the patient. And so what I will do, he said, I will go ahead and let somebody make a choice. I've got 6 charities that I want to help support, and I will go ahead and for, I believe it's $50, and we'll check this with Dr. Sheldon. For $50, I will do that. I will do that new patient special, get you in so you can get a quality medical opinion, understand what's going on, and then we can actually look at what's going on. And meanwhile, that $50 goes directly to the charity. So he actually writes that part off, but make sure that the person writes the check out, for example, to Helping Seniors of Brevard, and then that goes into it. And he's raised like hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities around Brevard, and also been a great friend of Helping Seniors all along.
I believe as we speak, Dr. Lee Sheldon is on our Newsmaker line. Hi, Lee. Are you there?
Hi, John.
Excellent.
I am late. Every once in a while, you got to see a patient. It doesn't go exactly the way you expect, and it takes longer. So I'm sorry to be as late as I am.
Hey, Dr. Sheldon, this is Kerry Fink. I'm sitting in for Joe today, who is still recovering and working on getting better from his knee operation. How are you today?
Good, Kerry. How are you?
This is the season everybody wants to fact check, right? So the first question I want to ask Dr. Sheldon is to fact check me about that new patient special. But I want to tell you, as we're listening, that we want to talk about the Helping Seniors car raffle. We've got some good updates about everything going on with the Helping Seniors car raffle. We're going to cover that on today's Helping Seniors radio program. So again, on behalf of our president and founder, Joe Steckler, Kim Bernard, our education specialist, and the whole Helping Seniors crew, it's Kerry Fink and John Harper who are holding down the fort today while Joe is probably being pushed through the paces with physical therapy.
All right, and as we try once again, I believe we've got Dr. Lee Sheldon on the line. Lee, are you there?
Let's let's see how that works.
So in the meanwhile, what I was saying, Dr. Sheldon, as you were redialing in, I wanted to. I said, this is the season for fact checkers, right? Every time you turn on the TV, somebody's fact checking something somebody said, because we're just in that political season. So as you were dialing in, I was actually talking about the new patient special that you offered, and I had said that. As I've understood from the medical side of things, it's very important to you as you get a new patient in that you're able to do all the things necessary to get a full view of what's going on with that person, so you don't skimp on it. You actually go through X-ray, all kinds of stuff, and then you make that entire $300-400 value available to somebody simply by making a $50 donation to Helping Seniors. You have a charitable giving program, and you've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities in Brevard over the years.
Yeah, it's neat. We just went over the $200,000 mark in March, and there was a nice article for today last month about that. We're really proud of that. It's neat. Patients are happy. Charities are happy. I'm happy. So what could be bad about that?
No, it's really important, because we were laughing. I don't know if you got to hear. John Harper was telling a childhood dental story that he had a dentist as a child growing up over on the West Coast, and I'm not even going to steal the thunder. You go for that one, John.
Lee, probably like radio and TV people, we know a lot of the people in the industry, even if they're not in our community. Have you ever come in contact with a dentist in St. Petersburg? His name was Dr. Yankum.
Dr. Yankum?
Yep. Yep.
No, I have not had the pleasure.
Yep.
We were laughing about that because
True
we said how we got to that was we were talking about the title for today's radio program. Do you really need to have your teeth extracted? Ask Dr. Yankum.
Dr. Yankum is right.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jim Votro just looked up while Kerry and I were talking, looked him up on the internet, and at least as far back as 1995, he was still practicing. So true story, and you can look him up on the internet.
I was telling them...
There was a professor, an anatomy professor at New York University, and his name was Dr. Butcher.
Oh no!
Well, actually, Butcher is kind of a common name, but in that particular profession or specialty, that's pretty unusual, right?
I would say so.
Yeah.
And the other name that John Harper shared was actually a doctor. Was it an allergy doctor?
An allergy specialist down the street, Lee, from Dr. Yankum, and his name was Dr. Achu.
This is truth. Truth is stranger than fiction.
That's right. That's right.
So, but we're going to have just enough time to at least broach the topic before we get to the mid-show break. But this is, I was joking, Dr. Sheldon, because I said, is this really a question to ask the dentist? Do you really need to have your teeth extracted? And so let's jump into that whole topic.
Well, it was an article that I wrote, and I felt the need at the time. As you know, we do a lot of dental implants, and but implants are not better than teeth. At least, if you can save your teeth, you're in better shape. But there has been a trend, and a trend that has been a disturbing trend among particularly people of my specialty. We are taking a closer look at this as to whether teeth need to be extracted. And I can't tell you how many patients have come into my office because we're well known for extracting teeth and putting implants in and putting teeth in the same day and all the things you see advertised. But I can't tell you how many people have come into our practice that were told they needed their teeth extracted and they didn't. And that's my concern. And we'll get into that in detail after the break. But it is something where just because you hear it, it may not be so.
You know, that really is the thing, that you think you're walking in to the dentist, and you probably either start, maybe, certainly I know I did, with a tooth pain, and then you're like, well, I got to do something about this, and then you go in and you think, well, just pull the tooth out, that'll make it feel better, and maybe sometimes that's the answer. But as I understand, we did a TV show a couple of years back on just this topic too. It's still it's available, as all the television programs are, on the Helping Seniors website at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. It's also on our YouTube channel and also on our Facebook page. But we did a topic about this, and I was really surprised to hear you explain that may not be where your mind goes initially when you're looking at what's going on for a patient.
It's correct. We've got to look at it from both perspectives. What does it mean to save the tooth, and how savable is the tooth, and whether the implant is a better choice. And when it comes to full mouth extractions, which is the bigger concern, do you really need to do what's advertised on TV? Where people are frustrated and they say, I've got to do something, and I decided to go to such and such a place, even my place where we do the same thing, with the assumption that nothing can be done. And that may not be a correct assumption.
Right, and there's this whole thing. I was telling also, we were joking about Dr. Yankum, but I said I really like the brand name you came up with years ago called Solid Bite, and it was really a reaction, it seems like to me, that you were trying to help people find a way that they could really enjoy what was going on, both with their food and everything else that they're trying to, with their smile and everything else that they're trying to accomplish in life.
It is. We're always looking for that, and we can do that in many cases more easily with dental implants than we can with natural teeth, particularly if the natural teeth are badly damaged, or if the teeth are out of position and we need to go to the orthodontist first. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way, but that isn't necessarily the better way. And this is a matter of discussion, a full discussion with the patient, so the patient knows what can be done either way, and treated appropriately. And that doesn't mean that implants shouldn't be done. It just means that it's only one of the considerations, and it should be part of an overall plan and not just the only plan that's there.
That's good. And we've got a series of questions we're going to hit when we get to the other side of the break. So you'll stay with us. If you've been told you need to have a tooth removed, what questions should you ask? And what are common reasons that teeth are removed? And what alternatives there are? So for this and more great answers to these questions, we're going to ask the expert, Dr. Sheldon, coming up next.
We'll continue with the Wednesday edition of Helping Seniors of Brevard, right here on 90.3 FM. Helping Seniors of Brevard with Joe Steckler. Joe Steckler not on today. He's still healing up from his knee surgery, his knee transplant. Kerry Fink is with me. I'm John Harper, and we also have Dr. Lee Sheldon. Kerry?
Yeah, thanks. Welcome back for the second part of the Helping Seniors radio program today. And on behalf of our president and founder, Joe Steckler, just really want to thank you for taking the time to tune in. Make sure you share the fact that we're on the radio every Wednesday at 12 noon here on 90.3 FM WEJF. And on top of that, I want to remind you that every time we do a radio show, we have that radio show available for you later. You can listen to it on demand. So if you heard something and maybe you wanted to hear it again, or maybe an important point you wanted to share with a friend, you can always find the broadcast. You can search them by topic. They're at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org, helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. And you can also find us on YouTube at Helping Seniors of Brevard, or on Facebook for Helping Seniors of Brevard. So we're looking forward to the second half of our show. We're going to be talking with expert periodontist Dr. Lee Sheldon, and our topic today is, do you really need to have your teeth extracted? Right. And while we're in the middle of organizing all of that, I'm going to take a minute and talk about the Helping Seniors car raffle. I don't know about you, but I sure hope you had an enjoyable and pleasant Labor Day weekend celebration. I know we had a great one. We had a lot of fun because we got to play with some amazing automobiles. I don't know if you got a chance to join us for our Facebook premieres, our YouTube premieres of the Helping Seniors car raffle cars, but we made a circuit. We actually visited all of the main car dealerships that car dealer AJ Hires, longtime friend of Joe's, from Boniface Hires, has. So we were up there with the help of Sharice Durham from Hibiscus Court and visiting the Dodge store, checking out that beautiful Dodge Challenger, one of 4 cars in the Helping Seniors car raffle. And we also popped by the Kia store, Boniface Hires Kia, right in downtown Melbourne. We got a chance to look at that beautiful Kia Sportage. Jennifer Helen was on there with us and helped us with that. And then we also popped by both the Mazda store and the Chevrolet store with Ashley Caswell of Hibiscus Court and checked out those 2 amazing cars. So the winner gets their choice October 10th. You need to write that date down because it's getting close in. It's 10/10/2020. And you get your ticket. 1 ticket is $25. 5 tickets is $100. And that's a donation to Helping Seniors. And what that gets you is each ticket is a shot at winning the car of your choice of those 4 cars. It's also your admission ticket to the American Muscle Car Museum. Now, we're going to do the grand drawing October 10th from the American Muscle Car Museum there, and we will be able to broadcast that on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. However, with the governor's current restrictions because of COVID, we're not going to be able to do that as a live event. We will instead be doing that as a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live. So you'll be able to tune in. We've got all kinds of surprises. We're going to have special guests. We got the amazing car collection that Mark Pilak has there. It is unbelievable. And we're going to have expert tour guides to show us some of those cards. It's going to be so much fun. And we're lining that up. You're going to be hearing a lot more about that. But that's October 10th. But the second thing that you get when you buy your Helping Seniors car raffle tickets, you will get to visit the museum. In fact, what Mark has generously agreed is that he will open up the museum literally on up to 3 different dates once the governor's COVID restrictions have relaxed to the point that he can welcome guests back into the museum safely. And then what will happen is your car raffle ticket is an admit one to the museum. So when you buy that 5-pack of tickets, that means you can win the car. You have 5 chances to win the car. But then you might also have Christmas presents because you can give those out and say, listen, you're going to be my guest to come see the American Muscle Car Museum next year. And, of course, the third and most important part of the ticket is the fact that you're helping our charity. This is how we stay afloat and are able to now go into our 10th year of serving the Brevard County area with the Senior Information Helpline. So get your tickets. Let me tell you real quickly how we get the tickets, and we're going to get back to Dr. Sheldon. So helpingseniorscarraffle.com. If you go online, helpingseniorscarraffle.com. You can also call Kim in our office. She'll be happy to get you set up. I'm going to give you that number now, so grab a pencil. That phone number is area code 321-473-7770. 321-473-7770. And, of course, you can pop by any of the Boniface Hires dealerships. They've got tickets, and they are not afraid to use them. So we'll go with that. How you doing, John?
I'm doing fine, Kerry, and I meant to mention, since you were talking about the car museum, the Muscle Car Museum, if our listeners have not been to that museum, they're really missing out on something spectacular. Because they have virtually every type of car imaginable there under one roof. It's the size of, at least 2 football fields?
Yeah, it's incredible. To me, I tell people it looks like 3 aircraft hangars. In fact, if you go to the Helping Seniors Facebook page or the YouTube page, you'll be able to see those videos that we did when we were live on location over at the various Boniface Hires dealerships. And the reason I want to point this out, not only do you get to see the cars, but we dropped in some drone footage. The building is big enough that they can put a drone in, and it takes like forever for it to fly from one end of the building to the other. It's incredible.
Do you have a drone?
No. This was something I think Andrew, who is he's the events coordinator over there, who's helped us so much with everything. But he said he said I want to share this footage with you guys, and it is really impressive when you see just flying down this row after row of cars.
It's incredible. You name the car, and it probably is there. And for the most part, I believe they're all American cars, right?
Well, he's got some Porsches in there. He's got one of everything. It was funny when we were talking to Eric Swist over at the Boniface Hires Chevrolet. He said, I think He's got like a dozen Camaros over there.
Yep.
And I know up at the Dodge store, they were proud of the fact that he's got some brand new Dodge Challenger Charger cars in there. And it's just fascinating to walk around there. So the good thing is when you support the work of helping seniors, you could win a great car, but you will definitely be going to the museum.
By the way, a lot of people, Kerry, are not aware of the fact that this is located at the right behind the Melbourne Greyhound Park.
That's right.
Off of Sarno Road. So it's a huge building. You can't miss it. Not highly marked or visible as far as a sign out front. But as you're on Sarno Road, just look at the huge building behind the Greyhound Park, and that is the Muscle Car Museum.
Absolutely. It is an amazing experience. You're going to see it if you find us on Facebook, Helping Seniors of Brevard, or YouTube, Helping Seniors of Brevard, and you will find information there. Check out those videos. It was a lot of fun to visit the stores and see all the great things that were going on there. And each of the stops, we got a really good expert tour of the cars from one of the folks who's an expert on them there on the lot. They took us around. We were able to look under the hood and see the dash, and they explained a lot of the features of these cars. So this is really exciting what Joe and AJ have put together for the car raffle for this year.
Indeed. So I think, Kerry, Fink, we have Dr. Lee Sheldon on the line with us again. Lee, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay.
Excellent. Okay.
So we're going to dive right into, because we had this list of questions that we wanted to do. Our topic today is, do you really need to have your teeth extracted? And so I love this first question, Dr. Sheldon, because it is probably universal. You go to the dentist, something's going on, and they tell you need to have your tooth removed. And what questions should we ask at that point?
First one is why. Okay, and there are two reasons that a tooth needs to be removed. There are two basic reasons. And there are others, but these are the common ones. One is if you have periodontal disease, and the other is the tooth has too much decay, and therefore it can't be restored. So let's cover the periodontal disease part of it first, because frankly that's the one that probably sticks in my craw the most, because of the assumptions out there, both among general dentists and hear me very carefully, among specialists, the teeth can't be saved if they have periodontal disease.
Wow.
If you have a tooth that needs to be extracted because of periodontal disease, the first question I have for you, what does it feel like to chew on the tooth? If the tooth is loose, I agree the tooth needs to come out. If the tooth is not loose, almost every time the tooth can be saved. So the first question is the tooth tight? If the tooth is tight and it's restorable, then say, I want to see a periodontist for a second opinion.
Lee, if the tooth is tight,
myself clear?
if the tooth is tight, Lee, does that mean the root is intact? Yeah, does that mean the root is intact?
I can't hear you over on that side.
So he was asking if if your tooth is loose or if your tooth is tight, does that mean the root is intact?
There we go. I couldn't hear you for a second, Kerry, so...
Yeah, so the question was what John Harper was asking. He said, so does that mean if the tooth is tight, then probably the root is still intact?
If the tooth is tight, it means there's still bone support around the root.
Okay.
And if the bone support is around the root to the point where there's enough bone support where it's tight, you can sometimes graft new bone in place, or sometimes just by cleaning the root, the remainder of the root, the diseased portion of the root, the body will build back its own bone on that tooth.
Wow. I know I've heard you talk with Joe about doing that, and in the case of some treatment that he went through. But let's go back to question number 2, which is kind of related. What are the common reasons that teeth are removed?
So the common reasons, as I said, is periodontal disease and tooth decay. The third reason is the tooth is fractured. And a tooth that's fractured, particularly if the tooth is fractured below the gum line, it's very difficult to save a tooth like that. I'm not saying we don't and we can't, and we do, but that's more difficult and more challenging. And then you've got to see how severe the fracture is as to whether it can be saved. If a tooth is so badly decayed that you can't save it, well, the question is, could somebody else save it if it's so badly decayed? I can tell you that if a person has multiple areas decayed, that all of the teeth are bombed out, that those teeth usually can't be saved. But a person who has severe periodontal disease, there's usually some teeth that can be saved, and we don't have to extract all of the teeth. In fact, there are sometimes when the teeth when the patient might hear, all of your teeth need to come out because you have widespread periodontal disease, and there are a number of cases where they've heard that, and we've saved their teeth for 20, 30, 40 years.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The biggest difficulty I have is when such a statement's made, you need to have your teeth taken out. And this is either by a general dentist or even by an oral surgeon. I think the question, and particularly in the case of periodontal disease, have you seen a periodontist first? Because it's not widely known, even among dentists, that periodontists can save as many teeth as we do.
Yeah, and I think you've already touched on the answer to this question, because I was going to say, well, so what are the alternatives to being Dr. Yankum, if you will, and just extracting
You like
them?
that. You like that name.
Yes.
There are. I mean, if you have a tooth that has a lot of decay, and we're talking about a single tooth, but it's still, if it's not mobile, but it's gone to the nerve, go to a root canal specialist and get a root canal done. And what did I say? I did not say get a root canal done. I said go to a root canal specialist to get a root canal done. Why would I say that?
Well, probably
In
because...
dentistry, anybody can do any procedure if they feel they're qualified. In medicine, if you need a cardiac bypass, who do you see? You see a cardiac surgeon. In dentistry, if you need a root canal, you see an endodontist. Can general dentists do root canals? Of course they can. But if you're looking at somebody who's a trained specialist versus somebody who's a general dentist, on average, you're going to get a better job done by an endodontist than you are going to be by a general dentist.
Lee, this is John Harper. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Then, Kerry, translate the question then for me. Would you ask Lee, over the years, it seems like there's been a trend to have root canals performed by a specialist versus a general dentist years gone by. Is that correct?
So, John is asking, is there a trend now with the people going to specialists who really do understand root canals as a specialty versus going what maybe in the past you went to a general dentist for?
It is. Usually the general dentist will make the referral, and sometimes the general dentist will say, I can do the root canal.
But it still would seem wise to go to the person who does this day in and day out and really is used to seeing everything, I would think.
That's my recommendation, yeah. We don't do any root canals in our office, even though we're capable of doing them. We refer all of our root canals out to a root canal specialist.
That's an interesting, because you guys are really, and I wanted to bring this up, so it's a great time to bring this up anyway. You have an article in this month's Senior Scene magazine, in the Helping Seniors newsletter, where you're talking about our young dentists good, and you're actually referring to the fact that your son, who's in the practice with you, Dr. Matt Sheldon, has been named one of the top 40 dentists under 40 in the entire country. And so you guys, you have to be a proud papa, right?
That's my boy. Yes.
But you guys really seem so capable. You have, Dr. Matt, you have your experience, and then we have Dr. Michelle Furtado, who is also an expert periodontist. So you have all these specialists in-house, and yet when you're talking root canal, you actually say, no, I want you to see a root canal specialist.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, we even have a laser which assists in doing root canals. We will not do it here. So yeah, I mean, we have our favorite. We all have our favorites that we like to work with, and That doesn't mean that just because we have our favorite that other endodontists aren't perfectly capable. But, yeah, I mean, for us, we develop our team. When we develop a team, essentially is how do we talk with each other? How do we communicate each other? Are our philosophies the same? And so, yeah, I mean, we have our favorite orthodontists, our favorite endodontists, and our favorite other specialists that we use in order to be able to create the team. And it's kind of like you've been working together for a while, and you kind of know what each of you are thinking, and you have good meetings at night on Zoom so we can discuss the case together, and everything works well. So we do have our favorites, but anyway, if we're talking specifically about root canals, yeah, go see an endodontist. If you're told, as I said, if you're told you need to have a tooth taken out because of periodontal disease, go see a periodonist. You don't have to see us, but go see a periodonist and get a second opinion on that before you make that decision to extract the tooth. People are told, well, you've got periodontal disease anyway. If we don't get the tooth out early enough, you'll lose too much bone, and you won't be able to have a dental implant placed. That's almost never true.
Right.
So we've really got to look at these opinions and these statements carefully before we just assume that the first opinion may be the best one, particularly when a specialist hasn't been consulted.
Right. Okay, I think John has a question.
Kerry, if you could ask Dr.
Sure.
Sheldon,
I'll relay.
Who coaches the coach, so to speak? How does Dr. Sheldon come up with a specialist in the field of dentistry that he recommends his patients to?
That's a good question. How does the coach find a coach? So, in other words, like how do you determine, how you find who those experts are over time that you feel comfortable recommending people to?
I interview just like you do, and so I will interview the person I'm working with. I can tell you that there are some specialists that we worked with in the past that we no longer work with because our philosophies weren't the same. And when that doesn't, and when that breakup occurs, and sometimes that breakup does occur, I have to have somebody else in the wings waiting, somebody whose work I've seen, and I can appreciate the accuracy of the work so that I feel confident in referring to that person. So if I'm looking at for root canal specialists in particular, I want to see what the root canal filling looks like. And there are things that you look at as a trained dentist, or that you're looking at the x-ray and you see what the root canal looks like. I would want to see the equipment that the person uses, but even without equipment, and don't forget, I did all this fancy dental implant work before we had CAT scans and we had all these fancy things available to us. So it is the quality of the dentist, the quality of the surgeon, and the only way you can determine the quality is actually look at the work that's been done.
Well, that's a good answer. So as we continue, we've just got a few more minutes left, but I wanted to ask you about factors that weigh in. So if a patient is sitting there and they've just gotten some bad news about this tooth, how do they make a good decision? Especially if it's one of those where it seems to be on the fence. Well, you could do this, or we could go ahead and yank it. If you have a patient, maybe the case is kind of borderline, like, well, we could take the tooth out, or we could, we could try something to save the tooth. How does the patient make that decision? What should they be thinking?
Well, I think the patient has to know a little bit about dentistry. It's one of the reasons that we wrote the book, The Ultimate Mouth Manual. I want the patient to have tools at his or her disposal. And whether we're making a decision on a roofer, or whether we're making a decision on a dentist, or we're making a decision on whether we need a medical procedure done, I think there are enough documents, enough books, and enough references that are printed that you can have some advanced knowledge on something, so that you're in a better position to discuss the situation with whoever it is you're consulting with.
No, that's good. So I love this question that we wrote down here. You're known for dental implants. I mean, you are the solid bite guy. I've seen you. We've attended and learned a lot from the seminars that you do about dental implants. And actually, before you were on the joining us on the radio today, I was saying really how informational and valuable what you cover in that is. But you're known for dental implants. But why would we not opt for that treatment whenever we have a problem?
I think the assumption is that dental implants are better than they are. Dental implants are good, don't get me wrong. But 20 years ago, or 30 years, when I put in my first implant, 35 years ago, something like that?
Wow.
We thought they were better than anything in the market, including natural teeth. But as we look at implants over a period of time, we see that some implants have problems as well. And it isn't the implant itself that has the problem. It's the patient who has a problem, where the patient could get a disease around an implant. They can get periodontal disease around an implant, just like they can get periodontal disease around a tooth.
Yeah.
But if you get periodontal disease around a tooth, I'm better able to treat that and stop the disease on the tooth than I am on the dental implant.
Wow. There's a lot of factors that you need to know.
We're not only looking at short-term, but we are looking at long-term, and the long-term results for many of us, including in our office, can be better on a tooth which can be saved rather than extract the tooth because it's going to take too much work and put an implant in because implants are perfect. They're not. They're not. Nothing that we put into the body is perfect.
Good information.
Any procedure, any place in the body. So, including dental implants. Certainly look at people who have other implants in other parts of the body. We've all heard of patients who've had problems with those as well, whether we're talking about hips or knees or shoulders or whatever it is. So let's not overvalue the mechanical procedure that we do.
That's a good place to kind of bring it to a wrap. We have probably about 10 seconds for you to give a phone number, because I would like for people to know how to reach you at your dental offices.
321-259-8000.
Yep, and that's Dr. Lee Sheldon, Solid Bite Dental. And thank you for taking time to join us on Helping Seniors Radio for today. A good show on Do You Really Need Teeth Extracted? Find this back again on Facebook and YouTube and share it out with your friends. And better yet, give Dr. Sheldon's office a call. And John, I guess that about wraps us up for today. On behalf of Joe Steckler, it's been a pleasure being on the radio.
It does kind of wrap things up. Kerry, Fink, perhaps one more time. We got about 30 seconds. Could you give out the information again on the car raffle and how to get tickets?
Sure. Get your tickets at helpingseniorscarraffle.com, helpingseniorscarraffle.com. If you're more comfortable doing this by phone, 321-473-7770, 321-473-7770. Thank you, John Harper.
All right, thank you, Kerry, Fink. And don't forget, Helping Seniors of Brevard, heard every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 o'clock, right here on WEJF 90.3 FM.